Welcome to another Mathnificent conversation. It's your favorite nerdy math bestie, Lex, here for another great lesson. Today's guest feature is factoring a trinomial quadratic. So first, you need to know what a trinomial quadratic is. I've written an example for you. Ax squared plus bx plus c is a trinomial quadratic. In this video, we're focused when a is 1. So we're focused on x squared plus bx plus c. Step 1, we're going to list the factor pairs of c. And step 2, choose the factor pair that when added equal the value of b. 3, the factor pairs become your factors. And it'll be x plus or minus factor pair times x plus or minus factor pair. Okay, let's factor x squared plus 13x plus 42. So our first step is to list the factor pairs of 42. So we have 1 and 42, 2, 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. There might be others, but we'll pause here and see if we've gotten to a factor pair that's going to add to our b term, which is 13. 1 plus 42 is 43. 2 plus 21 is 23. 3 plus 14 is 17. And 6 plus 7 is 13. When you're factoring, you are going to want to get to a point where you no longer have to list out the factor pairs. You can kind of go through them in your head. But if you're just starting, listing out the factor pairs is a great tool to help you see. So 6 plus 7 is 13. So that means 6 and 7, that's our factor pair. So x squared plus 13x plus 42 will factor into x plus 6 times x plus 7. And we're done. Now we're going to factor x squared minus 15x plus 54. And I'm going to give you a Lex tip. If c is positive, and b is negative, that means both factors are negative. Because a negative times a negative is a positive, but when we're adding two negatives, it's still a negative. So keep that in mind as you're practicing. Notice the relationships. C is positive, but B is negative. So that means I should be listing negative factor pairs. So let's take 54. And we know we're only going to list the negatives. -1 and -54, -2 and -27, -3, -18, -6, and -9. Let's pause here and test out. -1 plus -4 is -55. -2 plus -27 is -29. -3 plus -18 is -21. And -6 plus -9 is -15, which is the factor pair that we need. So -6 and -9. So x squared minus 15x plus 54 will factor into x minus 6 times x minus 9. Next problem, let's factor x squared minus 7x minus 30. Another Lex tip, if c is negative, you need to list the factor pairs with the negative swap. So remember, to get a negative number when we're multiplying, it's going to be a positive times a negative. That means each factor pair has two possibilities. And I'll show you what that looks like. -30 is our C. So we can have 1 and -30 because only one can be negative if when we multiply them, they equal a negative number. But that means -1 and 30 are also a possibility. 2 and -15, but also -2 and +15. 5 and -6, but also -5 and +6. 3 and -10, and also -3 and +10. Let's go back and start adding to see 1 and -30 is -29. -1 plus 30 is 29. 2 plus -15 is -13. -2 plus 15 is 13. 5 plus -6 is -1. -5 plus 6 is 1. 3 plus -10 is -7. And that is our winner. Our factor pair is +3 and -10. So x squared minus 7x minus 30 factors into x plus 3 times x minus 10. Okay, now let's look at the case where C is negative and B is positive. And as a Lex tip like before, if C is negative and B is positive, you need to list the factors with negative swap. Because again, if two numbers multiply to make a negative number, that means one is negative and one is positive, and we have to figure out which one correctly adds to B. So C is -40. So we've got 1 and -40, but also -1 and 40. 2 and -20, and also -2 +20. 4 and -10, and also -4 and 10. 5 and -8, and also -5 and 8. 1 and -40 is -39. -1 and 40 is +39. Plus signs. 2 plus negative 20 is negative 18. Negative 2 plus 20 is positive 18. 4 plus negative 10 is negative 6. Negative 4 plus 10 is positive 6. 5 plus negative 8 is negative 3. And negative 5 plus 8 is positive 3. And there could be more factor pairs, but I'm stopping because I've reached the one that I need. So my factor pair is negative 5 and 8. So our quadratic trinomial factors into x minus 5 times x plus